Good morning. How'd you sleep, buddy? Eh? How'd you sleep? Not too bad? Oh, it is a beautiful, beautiful morning. Beautiful but buggy. Holy mosquitoes. Just kind of got trapped in here. Had some good company all last night. It was so warm last night that I didn't sleep with my sleeping bag on me at all, just in my clothes. And I can tell right where, parts of my body were pushed up against this net because they are itchy this morning. Got some coffee going here, using the pour over method again, just because I want to just be able to make a thermos full and go do other stuff. I don't want to sit around camp because the bugs are terrible. And I also want to hit the road. I'd like to make it to past Thunder Bay, somewhere, on the eastern side of Lake Superior. That's kind of what I'm thinking. It'd be nice to, put on like 800, 900, 1,000 maybe kilometers today. 1,000 might be pushing it because there's a lot of stuff I want to do. Like I said, this is an awesome place. Oh, poor little Remster with all these mosquitoes. They're just brushing them off of him. He's not liking it. He's not liking it. I know, buddy. It stinks. These buds stink. They stink. Just like you. You need a bath. Yeah, you do. All right, buddy. Let's have the torture begin here. Remy hates baths, which is ironic because he's a Labrador Retriever. Come here, buddy. Come out. Over here. There you go. Right there, buddy. Water is actually pretty warm. All right, buddy. Time for the rinse. Yep. There. Fuck. No. Stay right there. Whew. Well, I think that's about it, buddy. Okay, buddy, come on. Oh my gosh. He's acting like I'm just abusing him. Oh, wow, such a rough life. Oh my gosh. Something that I recommend doing, even on new vehicles, like this is a new truck. Check your oil when you're covering a lot of kilometers or miles or however you measure distance. Looks good there. If you check the engine like right before you start it up in the morning, all of the oil has pooled in the pan below. And so you don't have to wipe it off or anything like that. You just have to pull it out, check it. I always like to look over the engine bay a little bit, make sure that there's, not oil just sprayed out over, right here. I didn't see anything weird, or you usually can smell it if something like that happens, but, check the coolant, that sort of thing. Just a good habit to have when you're, covering a lot of distance with the vehicle, especially when you're towing. It takes a minute and it could literally save your engine, which is very expensive and a huge headache if those things go boom on the highway out in the middle of nowhere.
Living on wild and living high as an eagle fly, diving deep into the wild.
We just pulled off the highway, made some really good time. Just cruise. Gosh, how many kilometers did we cover? Almost 400, about 4 hours of driving. gonna try to get back to this lake here. Well, that's the end of the road. I mean, there's a four-wheeler trail that keeps on going through there, but that is all just wetland, swampy area right in front of there. So I am not taking the truck into that. That's a recipe for hiking back to the highway and trying to convince somebody to pull me out. So I'm not gonna be doing that. That's a pretty big size moose. That's my hand next to the track there. Moose, particularly cow moose that have a calf, I think I think there might be, in my opinion anyways, I think they're right in line with the grizzly. Incredibly dangerous. They might, and depending if especially like a cat, like a cow with a calf, they actually might be the most dangerous animal in the woods. It's something to be incredibly cautious about. Bear tend to get a ton of attention, but moose are actually, in my opinion, are more dangerous. They're very, very protected over their calf. They're a big animal and they can run very fast. So I've been charged actually. Like I've had a cow search me out. She smelt me down. She was downwind of me and she smelt me out. And I was with Remy and she just came barreling out of the woods, like right towards me. Remy ran towards them, like to greet them, like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I started running like as fast as I could. So, and shouting at the same time and to grab Remy. And it scared the cow so much for like, just like shocking. Like I'm like, she's running at me, I'm running at her, screaming. And it startled her enough that she like stood there. I grabbed Remy. Remy luckily came back and she stood there with her ears pinned back and she was huffing like that, like that. Like I was by my truck. So luckily I ran to my truck and hopped in there and she just kind of sauntered back into the woods. But that was literally the closest time I've ever come to getting stomped and attacked in the woods. And I've had plenty of bear encounters, wolves encounters, ran into a mountain lion, grizzly, all that. Moose literally almost killed me and my dog. Just because we were hanging out in the woods, like I wasn't being threatening. She actually sought me out. This is a winter logging road here. So they've cleared this pathway and then you can see all the deadfall and like branches and all of the discarded remains of the trees that they've harvested in this area here. Logged out areas are actually important for moose. They will feed on all of these young treelings here and the shrubbery. Very important in the winter so they can nip the buds. The shrub, this is a red osier here, and this is a sign of moose. The moose come along and grab that and they just rip off all of the buds and the leaves and whatever's on there. If it's the winter, obviously just buds, and that's what they survive on in the winter. So it's very important, and that's probably why we saw moose tracks in here and fresh moose poop. That is a big moose. Big moose. That's big. Wow. I'm impressed. And that is fresh too. Moose is definitely around here somewhere. I don't know how far. Hopefully, I mean, it'd be cool to see it at a distance, but I do not want to see it up close. Back in the truck, I had to switch my shirt to something that can hide a little bit more of that camping grime. The white shirt was looking a little tattered. For lunch today, I got some egg salad here. The eggs were given to me by a friend from his chickens that is raising, so they're free, which is awesome, thanks to my buddy. But I guess, we should include, like, the mayonnaise and, condiments, all that stuff, the pickles. So, maybe $2 for this whole thing. I think that's fair. And then I got some romaine lettuce to dip it with, eat that up. I think each head is like $1.50. And then got a couple trail bars there. Yeah, pretty simple lunch, like nothing crazy, but it's gonna make some good farts for sure. Remy and I are gonna be ripping it up here in the truck. Yeah, next stop is Thunder Bay, gonna get some fuel there. We're at just at a quarter tank right now, which we've driven almost 1,000 kilometers already, which is unbelievable. Like we'd get over 1,000 kilometers for this whole tank, which is crazy. We're getting awesome fuel mileage, like 28 miles a gallon right now, which is unbelievable for a big truck like this. I'm gonna eat some food here, hit the road. Remy's gonna, try to cool off. It's hot. It's another hot, hot day, hot and smoky. We're off to fire season so early this year. This is typically what the weather's like in July here, and it's already like 80 degrees, full sun with smoke. Like, man, it's crazy how dry it is.
Living on wild and living high as an eagle fly, diving deep into the wild, sleeping off and by the fire. The days went to night.
Well, we made a little bit of a detour to see some cliffs and canyon areas. The North Shore has just some unbelievable cliffs. It's coming up on 6 o'clock here, and we are way behind. I'm having way too much fun exploring and checking out this new area. I've never been in the Thunder Bay area, never been on this part of Lake Superior before, and so I'm trying to fit in as much as possible, but we're now behind schedule. I believe we've covered about 500 kilometers. So that leaves, at least we have to cover at least another 300, but I'd like to do 400. So that's, quite a bit of driving. That's at least, 4 or 5 hours of driving. So it's going to be a late night. That's, pushing into 10 o'clock kind of thing. So yeah, it's going to be a late night. I was hoping to do like a cooking little, like pull out the stove and do a little bit of cooking, kind of show like what I was going to do. It's going to be simple, but with the time, I think it's going to be another hummus night, maybe some the rest of that egg salad, I don't know, something, not very exciting, but, enjoying nature's just been incredible. Like, I do really like this area. It's been more crowded, like, people-wise, than I was anticipating. Thunder Bay is a bigger city than I anticipated because it's out in the middle of nowhere, and so I wasn't really expecting such a big city, but there's quite a few people, and I understand, like, it is a beautiful area, but it's more crowded than I was anticipating and hoping for. Especially going from like the, Dryden, Kenora area, which is just beautiful and very remote, to having kind of people all over the place. Something I didn't know when I first moved to Canada is that Canadians say Northern Ontario for everything but the Toronto region. So the Toronto region is considered Southern Ontario, which is just like this much of the province, and then everything else is Northern Ontario. So when I say Northern Ontario, I always thought that it was like, oh, well, this is, like towards the Arctic, like that's Northern Ontario. No, 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 no. That's just not the Toronto region. Is incredible. That way is Lake Superior there. You can see it way off in the distance. Wow. Well worth the stop. This must be wrong here. It says 1,000 kilometers. There's no way. They must mean 1,000. They must just mean 1 kilometer, 1,000 meters. That's cool. Oh. It's 1,000 kilometers from the subarctic tundra. All right. Okay. There we go. Now it's all coming together. Yeah, that's super cool. That so cool down there and the growing season so short that there's some I they say Arctic species, but I can see there's a birch tree down there, so it can't be that cool. So there's just some species that are only found in the Arctic. Maybe some of the moss and lichen that I'm seeing. You can see it right there. I bet that's what they're talking about. There's looks like sphagnum moss and then some like caribou moss. Maybe there's some like specialized moss that are only found in the Arctic. I'm not sure, but it's hard to leave with a view like that. We are on a tight deadline. I shouldn't be sitting around here. I should be running. Really enjoying this so much. I was debating about doing this trip just with an airplane, like one day, one miserable, very miserable travel day. But I'm so glad that I decided to make this video and to do this trip, this road trip here, because oh man, I just love being in the forest here and it's awesome exploring new areas. Whoa, it is cool. It's amazing how it just looks like the face just crumbled and so cool. I definitely see what they mean though. That definitely looks like the subarctic, like short stunted trees, moss, lots of it. That's pretty cool. Wow, look how stained that water is down there. That is really cool how they think that this was formed. I don't know if I would concur with the theory number two of that as a glacier was melting, running water was moving and pushing and just eroded it from the bottom. Because I've seen a lot of, canyons and stuff that are formed like that. I've never seen one that has just boulders like that. Like, you think that if there's lots of moving water over time that, maybe the boulders wouldn't disappear. Maybe there wasn't enough water there, but you can see how jagged they are and, square. Just to me, there's just no evidence that there was a stream here at any point. That maybe there is a small amount of moving water, but not much, and definitely not enough to, like, erode this from the bottom up. To me, yeah, it does seem like it might have just pushed it, which is crazy. I mean, that's just an unbelievable amount of force to do that and open this up. That's sure is what it looks like to me. I don't know, what do you think? Either way, it's super cool, and they call this unique formation here Indian Head, which I don't really see. I mean, I kinda see a face there, but I don't know. Definitely not like indigenous Mount Rushmore. We're gonna start hiking back here, hiking back to the truck. It's coming up on 6 real quick. Gosh, I am starting to feel fatigued. Not that I'm like getting drowsy or anything like that. It's just driving fatigue. So if it gets too bad where I start feeling unsafe and uncomfortable driving, then I'll just, find a spot camping. We're gonna start heading north and then we're gonna start heading east again. And when we do that, it's gonna get really remote. It should be pretty similar to where the area that like as remote as the area that we were in, maybe even more so. So camping spots should be plentiful out there. Like so it doesn't have to be that nice. It would be nice to buy some water or like at least an opening so there's a little bit of wind with all these bugs. Like no matter where we go, the bugs are going to be atrocious. This area right here has been the nicest, and I bet it has to do with Lake Superior that it's cooler here than it's been basically for the whole trip. So I bet Lake Superior just helps keep this cool and it's kind of tampering the the bugs for right now anyways, but I bet as we head away from Lake Superior, it's gonna get bad again. So yeah, hit the road, see what we see, but no more stopping until camp hopefully.
living on one living high as an eagle fly, diving deep into the wild, sleeping off and by the fire. The days went tonight.
Man, that area around Nipigon and up towards the lake, like Nipigon Lake, was unbelievable with the cliffs, different bodies of water. Never got to see Nipigon. It's been a lake that has been on my mind about going there for a long time. It's got some big brook trout. It's very remote, very big. Yeah, it's been a destination that I've been wanting to go to, but again, there's just so many awesome places. We're making good progress here. I've been on the road for about 2 hours now. I'm gonna do one more hour. I found a place that looks like it'd be a good camping spot. It's right next to a lake that's got super clear water. Like I can see it with the satellite imagery. I can see pretty far deep, I think anyways. It's always hard to say like how deep you can actually see, but the water looks pretty clear. I can make coffee with, without using the water that I have. And also I actually prefer drinking out of the lake. I really don't like drinking tap water. Well water's okay, but there is just nothing better than drinking from the northern lakes. It's so good. Warms up my soul. It's exactly what I need. So I'd love to be able to do that right from camp. That'd be awesome. And also, we are right around the halfway mark. As far as distance, we're not quite at the halfway mark in regards to time, though. And that's because in the prairies, so in Saskatchewan and Manitoba, you can drive 120 kilometers an hour, which is pretty close to freeway speeds in the US, like 75 miles an hour. But here in Ontario, it's a max of 90, but you can give or take 10 typically. So, like around 100 anyways. So, food wise, it's been okay. Like, I mean, it's been kind of boring. Just mostly just snacks. I mean, in part that's just because we're moving. I mean, I'm moving so much. I mean, it's just going here, going there, getting to camp super late, not really putting any time or effort into cooking. So it's just like, egg salad and lettuce, like it's nutritious, makes some good farts. Like, what else can you really want? Oh, and that reminds me for dinner, another box of Triscuits down. And also Remy, of course, had his meal. He gets fed twice a day. So that's about $3 a day for him, which is super cheap. He loves it, of course. And it's good quality food. I mean, everything's going really well. Knock on wood. If there was any wood in here, I'd be knocking on it because I really don't want to jinx it because it is going really well so far, and I am having an absolute blast. It's been an awesome experience. This is an open pit gold mine I passed on the way to my campsite. Watching a site like this in action is striking. It's a reminder of the incredible effort humans make to extract the materials that are the cornerstone of civilization. It's essential to technology, finance, and healthcare. And a mine like this can drive real economic value, creating jobs, funding public services, and supporting entire communities, especially in remote areas. But the value comes with impact. Open pit mining reshapes the landscape on a massive scale. Forests are cleared, wildlife is displaced. The process involves blasting, hauling, and processing millions of tons of rock. And with nearby lakes and waterways, the risk of runoff contamination and long term water issues are significant. Environmental regulations are in place, mandating tailing management, water treatment, and land reclamation, but execution varies and restoration can take decades. It's not simply a story of good or bad. Mining supports lives and livelihoods, but it also leaves a lasting footprint. So the question isn't necessarily whether we mine, but how responsibly it's done, how risk is managed, and how recovery is prioritized once the gold is gone. Because what we extract matters, but so does what we leave behind. Oh, buddy. Oh, gosh. Jeez Louise. Your leg's not working after that long truck ride? Oh my gosh. We found a really nice campsite right next to the water here. Put the truck back over here. Wasn't sure what the shoreline was looking like. I would like to camp next to the lake, like right next to the lake, but it's nice sleeping on somewhat level ground. And down here, it's kind of like, like that towards the lake. Oh, there's a merganser. Sorry, buddy. Didn't mean to spook you here. Yeah, the water is super clear. I don't know what that is. Like this, is this, I don't know what that would be. Maybe this is somebody's old cabin site or I'm not sure. That's interesting. I don't know what that would be. Hey, this is me in the studio here. I'm not sure what happened, but the audio just cut out for a couple of minutes here. Just to kind of fill you in what's going on is I just found some fresh bear scat, and I'm just kind of talking about me being a little bit nervous about that it's, right next to camp, and more than likely that bear will return, but that the likelihood of it giving me issues is pretty low. And oh, here comes the audio. Not feeling the pressure of, an upcoming winter, like an impending winter to for that. So the likelihood of having a bear come in is pretty low, but it's always a possibility for sure. And it's cool enough tonight. I actually might close up my topper. Like last night, I just slept with it open because it was so hot, like, there's no way that I coulda slept through the night with it closed, but it's feeling cool enough tonight that I probably could do that. I think I will. Great horned owl just hooted. I hope that is getting picked up on camera. That's super cool. There's a great horned owl over here and one over here. Mosquitoes weren't too bad, and now they're too bad. I would like to explore, but right now is not a good time to be walking around the woods by yourself for sure. Definitely, bears tend to be diurnal, and also they're fairly active at night. So yeah, not the best time to be walking around the woods. So definitely leave that for the morning. What's going on, buddy? Well, I wanted to celebrate being so close to the lake over there with some tea, fresh water, fresh from the lake. Oh, and we got a dead skeeter. Nice. Well, that's good. There are a ton of mosquitoes. Holy moly. Yeah, I'm just gonna do exactly what I did last night where I'm gonna lay out my hammock, sleeping pad and sleeping bag. The difference, like I said, probably gonna close this tailgate. Think I'm gonna do 2 packs of the lemon ginger, and I'm going to harvest some spruce needles, just like that. I like to go from branch to branch, just kinda spread out my harvest. It doesn't really impact the tree too much, but just thinning out little bits here and there. So like that. And then a little lemon ginge. With that bear poop, I've been like every sound off in the distance. I'm like, oh, oh. Bears are actually really quiet in the woods. It's actually pretty crazy how big they can be and how easy they can move through the woods really quietly. So yeah, just always kind of keeping an eye out. Don't want anything sneaking up on me. Again, I really, if I had my weapon with me, if I had a shotgun with me, wouldn't worry about it too much. But without having a weapon, just kind of really trying to keep my eyes open because if, something's sneaking into camp, I don't have too long to get into my truck kind of thing, So, yeah. Anywho's, the other thing about camping out in the middle of nowhere is that is keeping your senses about you, like checking, making sure that nothing is sneaking in, that sort of thing, which has happened in the past on me. It was actually with a mountain lion. It snuck into camp and it got super close before it let me know that it actually called out and let me know that it was right there kind of thing, which was really spooky, but I was glad that it did that at least. I looked up and I saw its eyes like right at the tree line, basically, like staring back at me. That was crazy, really nerve wracking. But, anyways, to get back to what I was trying to say is that, keeping your head about you is really important, but also not letting your head get away on you and really making you, like overly worry and give you like, I've had night terrors of like, you know, having something come in and attack and blah, 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 like, because it really can ruin the camping experience if you're, like, just constantly worried that something's gonna come and get you kinda thing, right? So whoa, jeez Louise. Hopefully that got on camera. That was crazy. I don't know what that was. Check if this tea's still hot. You do with those spruce needles, you do need to let those brew longer than you would with just, like, a regular tea bag just because 'cause they're, not processed and they just need a little extra time to soak. This tea had some try. Jeez, that did not come out right. I am getting very tired. Give this tea a try. Some try. Holy gosh. Ooh, it smells good. Ooh, yeah, that is nice. Still hot. I think I'm gonna leave that spruce in there for a little bit longer. Could use it. Can't quite taste as much as I'd like. So yeah, that's basically the setup right there. I think this should be okay for keeping bugs out, hopefully. Like, I mean, not keeping bugs out, but like keeping your pokers out of my flesh. Yeah, so that's camp. Super easy to put up, take down. That's what I really like about it. It's 11 o'clock right now. I am definitely feeling it. Had a long, long day. We're gonna drink a little tea, brush my twofers, and yeah, head to bed here. Woo! That is good.